Welcome to Two Woke Bonnets, a podcast where we revisit the classic TV shows of our Gen X childhoods and see how well they hold up today. With your hosts, Carol and Joey.
Well, hello. Long time, no Prairie. So,
Weird.
this is Two Woke Bonnets. I'm Carol.
I'm Joey. This is Angel.
And yeah, it's been a while. It's been a while. Let's just say 2025 was not a happy year. Um,
Well, a little stressful. Still stressful, but
Still
we're
stressful, but
moving on.
we're getting back to normal. Um, yeah, some
Told us
some
normal. One of the
sickness,
two.
some death, some just lousy stuff happening. So, yeah,
This
we had to
sounds
shelve
like life
this for
on
a
the
little.
prairie. Yeah.
Yeah. We had to shelve this for a while, but we are back, and we're back with a two-parter. We're
Yes.
just going to do this in one episode. We're on season 2, episode, is it 8 and 9?
7 and 8.
7 and 8. Okay. Wow, so this is early in the season.
It
I thought this
is.
was mid-season, but no, this is earlier in the season because these
This is
seasons are
earlier
22
in the
episodes.
season. Yeah.
Um, Remember Me. So this is the big two-parter in this season. I don't think there's another two.
Apropos, like, hey, we're sorry you've been gone a lot while. Remember me? So,
Yeah, actually, works. Remember us? Well, Remember Me is the episode we're doing today. Um, I won't say where we last left the Ingalls because you can just go back and listen to the last episode we did where we were confident we were going to do another one the next week.
this was last time was back in June with the
Yep.
spring dance.
Yeah.
Because we
Spring
stopped and
dance.
did all the Geekery Market stuff over at Guardians of the Geekery, our other podcast. And
Yes,
then
which
we
you can
were
listen
going
to.
to come back after November, but things happened. So we
Things.
apologize. I
Yeah,
know.
we apologize, but we're back and we're gonna try and keep up with this. We both have lives and shit
Yes.
happens.
Yes.
And shit happened on this episode.
Yeah.
So we have a big guest star in this one, Patricia Neal. Um, I believe she's an Oscar winner, isn't she? I'm almost positive she
Emmys.
won an
2
Oscar.
Emmys.
Oh,
And
two
was an
Emmys.
Oscar nominee, I believe. So yes.
Yeah,
Um,
I seem to recall. Oh gosh, I can't remember the movie that she was in that she was nominated for. She's a really good actress. Um,
yes. Indeed. Keep going.
yes. So we're introduced to her pretty quickly in the episode.
He
I
is an
can't remember how
Oscar
we
and Tony
just run
Award
into the
winning.
episodes. It's been so long. I can't remember how we do these.
Yeah,
I'm
so
sorry,
let's
guys.
talk a little bit. So Patricia Neal is the main character. She was an Oscar and Tony Award-winning actress. She's from Knoxville, Tennessee. In spite of that, she has a very odd accent in
It's
this.
a
I don't
very
know if
like
she was trying to overcompensate because now
no, she
she's
always
living
sounded like that. She
in
always
the
sounded like
West.
that. It's
But
it's like she is trying to sound almost northeastern.
yes, as opposed to
Yeah.
Southeastern. So but yeah, so we'll go through the story plot and then we can
Yeah.
talk about some of the guests and talk about the bingo card. But it is a two-parter and it starts off with everybody. Well, it starts off John Wickish, right? Like this
Yeah.
man comes
Yeah.
in, he pulls 3 puppies, he puts them in a sack, he ties it up. You see this poor dog who doesn't look anything like these other dogs, by the way. The other
No.
dogs are
I mean,
white
the
and
puppies look like
fluffy.
Jack,
Yeah.
which makes me think, is Jack the father?
Well, they kind of allude to that, don't they? Like how Jack naturally bonds with them, and they
Yeah,
do
it's like,
look like Jack.
I
But
don't know.
this this poor dog, I'm like, I want to go rescue the mama dog because she literally
Focus
has
on her for
the
the longest time. They just focus on her poor sad face.
and she cries. Like she
Yeah.
literally has tears in her eyes. And yeah, so they focus on this. The guy throws the dogs in a sack, and in spite of that, one of the dogs kind of sneaks out, and you think maybe it's gonna jump off the back of the the wagon, but it
Wagon,
doesn't.
but
And then
no.
the girls wearing exceptionally short dresses
Yes,
extremely short dresses, like up to
they're
their
wearing their
knees.
underdresses.
Yeah,
But when they're going swimming, which is fine,
which we'll talk about
but
again later because they're more modest in that than they are in episode 2. But anyway,
yeah,
um, but yeah, so the girls run to the creek and they get there just as this man has put this very heavy rock and tied the bag. And they're like, Mister, what are you going to do? And he picks up a stick like he's going to beat them. Then he throws the sack with the puppies in it into the lake. And then he gets in and drives off.
drives off. And
And then
granted,
the girls,
I recognize that there's three puppies here, and this is Michael Landon beating us over the head with the theme of this two-parter right at the get-go.
right.
These are these puppies that nobody seems to want. So
And so the girls run up, they dive in the water, Mary to the rescue, which is so not typical. You
yeah,
would
that's
think
not
that this
typical.
would be a Laura moment, but it's a Mary moment. She goes, she finds the bag, she pulls, I mean, Laura jumps in the water too, but both of the girls immediately jump in the water, try to save these puppies. They get the puppies aren't moving, but somehow they get it untied and pull them out, and the puppies are wet but fine. And then she
Yes,
realizes there's a fourth object in there. She's freaking out. I'm freaking out because I'm like, I thought there were only three puppies. And then she realizes it's
it's
the
the
fourth
rock.
puppy is a rock.
Yeah, and then
So,
they're all happy, and they bring them home to Pa and Jack,
yeah.
who
And of
bonds
course,
with them
Pa,
immediately.
and so, yeah. So, and decides that the, the puppies can stay as long as they find a home.
Yes,
They can't stay there. So, recurring theme, as you said.
yes.
So,
This is Michael Landon because he I think he directs both episodes. This is
yeah,
him hitting us over the head with
we get
the
hit over,
theme.
and he Michael Landon definitely has his I want you to know that I'm artistic too moments. And
Yes.
so the whole thing of seeing it from the dog's eye view where you never see the farmer face until the girls confront him. The rest of it's
Yes.
all knees and
It's
down
all yeah.
and it's all the height of the dog up until the moment that the girls come in and rescue it, and then we see the puppies when the girls are down at his level. And he does some other artistic things like this, but I will say I don't know if it's the break we've taken and come back or what it is, but I've never felt such heavy-handedness as I felt in these two episodes.
Yeah.
It
Now
was so heavy-handed.
I truly feel this could have been one episode. Um, the second part, and we'll get to the second part, but that second part just drags, and it drags for one reason, and I'll get to that when we get to that point. But, yeah, then we meet Patricia Neal and her three kids who we've never seen before in Walnut Grove.
But evidently her husband, because she's a widow, has
Yes,
died. But prior to dying, for many years, even though the girls are not any older than they were before, has done many favors for the Ingalls family. And so
yeah,
now Pa comes and does favors at her house, not those kind of favors. It's not a
they do
Pa not
farming
wearing
stuff.
his shirt moment.
He's
It's
plowing
honorable
her
stuff.
field.
He's
He's plowing her field in a literal way. And
not the
not
figurative
the
way.
figurative way, the literal way.
The three of them walk to town and she knows that she's potentially dying. She
She just
wants,
doesn't know how long she's got.
they know that they're all walking to town together. They see her walk into the doc's office, and yet when the news comes that she's dying, it's a shock to everybody, which is
Well,
kind of like this little town, but not this little town moment.
yeah.
So
Once
it's a little
again, there's far more
confusing.
people in Walnut Grove than there would be in Walnut Grove. And, like people just show up. And this family apparently has lived on this farm for a very long time because John Jr. is like 15. I put
Yeah,
him at
he's
between 15.
definitely taller, right?
Yeah.
So
He's
and
definitely getting into the mid to late teens area.
right.
But yeah, we've never seen him at school, even though he's very studious. Um, we've never seen any of these kids before, but there they
It's
are, three
okay.
kids, and their mom is dying.
Right.
And Doc Baker can't even give her a time frame. She could go at any time.
Yes. And he said, so he says a month or a year. And she says, oh, a week?
The
Wait,
day,
that's not how that worked. That's not how that worked. But so he comes home, but let's remember he was once a veterinarian first. For those of you on the audio portion, I just made Carol spit take. Thanks. I feel like I've achieved something this time around.
Darn near had
But yeah,
Diet Pepsi coming through my nose.
so here's my issue, and I don't know if it's because of the year that we've had, because you and I have had to deal with death and
Of
dying and
death
sickness
and
and
dying, and
bunches
yeah,
of stuff.
this was probably the
But
worst episode for me to come back on. But I knew it was the
seriously
next
had the same
episode.
thought. I'm like, do not hurt those puppies.
Yeah.
What the hell? And what the hell? So,
But I knew it
yes.
was coming. So yeah, I
But
remember this
so
episode clearly.
she comes back to town. Evidently, she doesn't tell Car- Caroline. She doesn't
Yeah.
tell Grace.
Grace
By the way, Grace comes in with Mr.
with
Edwards.
Isaiah. Yeah.
She walks into town with him. Now, why would she walk into town with them? Supposedly they stay in different places, but
Yeah.
it's just part of the story. And she's
Yeah.
all very lighthearted about the fact that she's never going to have kids because she'll never get Mr. Edwards to marry her.
Well, and
And that's kind of shoved in our face as well.
yeah.
And um and so we meet the three children. They walk with the kids to school like this is something they do all the time. Um
Like they've known each
Mrs.
other for years.
Mrs. Sanderson and Caroline and Carrie and Grace all walk into town together, and they all go their separate ways, and they don't say anything about why are you going into the doctor.
Yeah. They don't even ask, "Oh, are you okay? I saw you go into Doc Baker's office." It's just
Yeah.
nothing. It's just, yeah. But
So
she's
then
dying.
she's dying. She comes back. She tells Pa she's dying. He bursts into tears. She
Yeah.
makes him promise right there while he's in the middle of plowing her field.
In her field and sweating, and
And like,
he's
why
like,
is she plowing her field if she's dying? But it could be a year, so maybe they need the
so
crop.
maybe they need the crops, but
But yeah, and she makes him promise that that if she cannot find a place for her children before she dies, that he will make sure that the children find a place and that he will do the decision making for her.
it just seems like what well,
But
we know why she asks Paul, because it's Michael Landon and Paul has to save the day,
right.
even though technically he doesn't hear.
And
Um,
then he talks about announcing it at church.
yeah,
And then she says, "No, I'll do it, but I'll tell the children first so it won't be a shock." And then he goes down home and clearly tells Caroline, but decides not to tell the girls so that they'll
yeah,
be in shock. And here's my problem. She goes in, she's very weak, she hardly has energy. By the way, every hair is in place and she looks beautiful
yeah,
walking strongly
yeah.
across the field. Very, again, very artistic moment. And I'm sorry
She
to
does
kind of
not
like
show any
narrate this.
signs of illness at all.
No, she never does. She never even
No.
shows any sweat, hair out of place, or sickness as she's lying in the bed. Um, but she goes in, she has dinner. We never see her make the dinner, by the way. No, none of that. Because, the Dinty Moore stew is only for the Ingalls. But anyway, um, she makes a nice fire. Again, she's weak as whatever and
She's
supposedly
gonna
going to
die in
die
3 days.
in 3 days. And she sits down and she tells the children, "I'm going to die. I want you to hear everything I'm going to say. Do not interrupt." Of course, her one daughter, Alicia, immediately interrupts, but she tells
She's
her it's
5.
okay.
She's like 5. Come
And
on. This
then she yells at her oldest son, "You are not allowed to cry because you're not crying for me, you're crying for you." And she never allows these children to process. And then she tells them to go to bed, and she tells them that she doesn't want to hear them talking because they need to be rested and look their best in the morning when they go to church so she can try to
they're
find them all.
basically, you know, paraded in front of the town. Okay, I get it. She's supposed to be a strong farm woman and she's lost her husband and she's trying
Like, yeah.
to face death with dignity, and that's great, except your child, that little girl is like 5, 6 at the most. She's not going to
Really
understand.
older than Carrie. Like when you see them playing, Carrie and she are the same size.
Yeah,
But somehow Carrie doesn't go to school, I think because Carrie's
yeah.
special needs.
I
And
think they don't have that class yet.
yeah, but so they were not allowed to process it all. And then here's the other
Oh,
thing that I kind of was like tongue in cheek about because there was two things that I noticed. I don't know if it's just that because I was already on edge because the puppy started off the scene and I didn't remember that. So I was very like I have to like protect my heart. But okay, so in order to make the schoolroom into the church, somehow green curtains appear behind Reverend Alden.
Right, yeah. To give it a
So,
like
like,
a
but we
it's like
never
an
see
altar
them
type thing.
like pushed to the side during the school day or
Yeah.
something, which would have made more sense, right? Like, I can get maybe you want a curtain up there so they're not staring at the blackboard, but where does the curtain come from? That's just a total aside, but
It's
it
just a
took me out
continuity
of the
thing.
moment, okay? The other question that I had was when we turned around and we see the audience, other than Ma and Pa Ingalls and like Christy, who's single back by herself in there, one of the tall girl who's in like 8 episodes.
Yeah.
I count four couples other than the Olsons, the Ingalls, the Edwards and Grace.
Edwards,
That's
soon to
it.
be
There's
Edwards, yeah.
like, and she's standing up in front and she said, some of you may not know me. There's only 20 people in the building. But here's the thing that took me out of the moment. After I counted the couples while she was doing her speech, again, protecting my heart, as they're going down the stairs, there's two girls in green dresses that were not in that scene. There were more people coming out of the doors
Yes, there
than there were there.
always
Carrie
is.
wasn't in that scene, but yet Carrie comes out the doors, and there's nowhere else for
There's
them to go.
always every time there is a church session, count the people coming out because there's always far more people coming out of the church than there were sitting in the pews. And here it almost seems ridiculous. I actually kind of giggled a little bit because I'm like, honey, you're talking to the three couples that we know are not going to adopt your children. Well, spoiler, that one of them will. But you're talking to couples who aren't going to adopt your children.
Covered this
You need to be
faster on
driving
foot.
around the county.
Yeah,
Yeah, Pa needs to be on his wagon driving around the county to all of the farms and not just announcing it to this tiny small congregation because it really does seem like the vast majority of people living in this town do not go to church.
yeah. Here's another thing I want to point out is that she says, and this we'll come back to this in part two, but she specifically says, I know that, I thought I was too ordinary for God to ever want to take me this fast. So she talks about being a strong willed, God fearing, ordinary person and all that. So, but she wants when she's, and then after this very solemn announcement where nobody except for Caroline and Pa and Tom Baker know, like it seems like the Reverend didn't even know what she was going to
Yeah.
say. And then and so they let the church people go out. And then he's like, all right, well, I guess that's all I got to say today. May God be with
That's
you. He
it.
doesn't say, let's organize a church supper. Please make sure if you know other people that may be interested, let them know. Like, nothing about that, which I get it, but, from a practical standpoint. And then they
For,
go out there and she's sitting in the buggy with her kids going, so where are we going to go for a picnic? Right. And then again, Laura becomes the Mary this episode. She's
she
the one
doesn't,
that's
yeah.
like hiding against the tree. Nobody says anything to
Yeah,
her
she's scared of
until,
her. She's like, she's scared because she's dying. And
and I was like, yeah, Laura's the one that will go up and talk to the strange men at the pond and, hang out with the
Laura
old
has,
man in the
so,
haunted house like two
yeah,
episodes before.
but
And
here
now
she
we'll,
can't talk to this lady. But Laura's the one who's physically met an angel.
yeah, yeah. So she's dealt with death a lot more, but
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah,
And
we need a
then
proxy. We need a proxy to somebody to be the audience to feel all of the things, and that's Laura this episode because obviously they weren't going to allow her children to feel them.
And yeah, because the children were really not like ever given that moment to process or wallow at all.
Yeah,
And then she's like, "Well, I want them to remember me laughing. So
yeah,
you have
which
to
is
get up and play with me and we can play. I promise I'll go easy." Because once again, we never see her. She doesn't even
frail.
do the fake, I can't, I'm having the hard
Or
time
yeah,
breathing
the
or
whole run
anything.
around and then suddenly get dizzy and oh, I guess I should sit down for a bit. No,
Yeah.
there's none of that. It's just, it's one day she's fine and the next day she's gone. And I get some people, that happens with some people, but it's implied that she has some sort of cancer.
He has lymphatic node
Yeah.
cancer. But he says
So
it's not just one node, it's all over
it's all
her.
over. So she would be feeling fatigued, like major fatigue, but that's
Oh,
fine.
that's
You
fine.
know, the woman's dying and we're never going to see her again.
Well, and that was the other thing that I wanted to say is like the way that she talks to Reverend Alden. She tells him that she mentions when she announces that she had more to say, but he went on a little long-winded and she knows it's hot in the church, even though technically that happened in November, by the way.
Yeah,
So, and she knows it's hot. She knows the pastor went on, so she'll try to keep it brief. I'm dying. Somebody take my kids. Thanks so much. Have a good day.
yeah.
Um,
Where's
but
the
she,
picnic?
but then when she collapses and they come over and check on her and everything, she's talking to the reverend and she's like, only read this, nothing else. You have a tendency to get a little too talkative. And I'm like, this is the same Reverend Alden who had Caroline in tears in season one because he was telling her she was doing the wrong thing.
Yeah,
And yet, like, Miss Widow Sanderson seems to get away with a lot of stuff.
she
So,
gets away with, well, she's dying, so they're going to let her get
dying
away with
people
it.
get away
So,
with a lot. That was what
yeah.
that was my takeaway from that day. So,
Yeah, so yeah, so she gives her something she gives Reverend Alden something to read at her funeral,
yeah,
which is coming very quickly because the next time we see her, she's
she's in the
basically just saying
bed.
goodbye to the kids.
Yeah, sitting up very straight, talking very
Yep.
authoritatively. Again, no weakness, no muss, no fuss.
And no tears for the kids. They're not allowed to cry.
No.
And then she's gone, and we get her funeral, where he reads what she wrote, and I'm trying not to dislike this lady because I get it. She's just a solid prairie wife or whatever. But what she wrote was, "Remember me with laughter and tears, or with laughter and
Smiles and
happiness and
laughter.
smiles, because if you can only remember me with tears, you're not remembering me at all." Which is really kind of rude.
It's the
Let
same thing she told to her oldest son.
Yeah,
You're mourning for yourself, not me, you selfish
but
boy. Yeah.
yeah, that's let them mourn for themselves. They're losing their
Right. You're
mom.
not allowed to process. That's what I wrote down in big letters.
Yeah.
No one is being allowed to process death, and that's just not okay.
And that actually happens quite a few times in this series,
That's what I'm
as we'll
saying.
see.
Like, yeah.
You're just not allowed to process it. You got to be strong, and they're in heaven now, and it's beautiful, and it's like you're still gonna
Get it?
process. You're still gonna cry.
But no. Yeah. So, and then that's the end of season episode one
Or episode one.
is
Yeah.
the funeral. And now
Um.
Pa has the thing. So now Grace has said, now it would make sense, but of course they cut that transition out because it doesn't involve Pa or Laura.
Yeah.
But evidently, in the same way that she made Pa promise to find the family, she made Grace promise to take care of the kids until there was a
Till.
place for the kids to go. And
Yeah.
so Mr. Edwards, being Mr. Edwards, is suddenly hanging around and sleeping in the barn because that's more
Yeah.
acceptable.
Okay. So here's my problem with the second episode. We
Okay,
know where this is going. We
right.
we absolutely know where this is going. We know that Isaiah is going to ask Grace to marry him, and they're going to take the kids. That's obvious from the start of the first episode. My problem is the second episode is literally 30 minutes of Isaiah dragging his feet.
First, we do start off with a couple coming forward,
Yeah. And saying they'll take the boys.
but they won't take the girl. And it's
Yeah.
very clear that it's the father that doesn't want the girl.
Yeah.
He only wants the ones that
He
are going
wants
to do
field
work.
hands.
Yeah.
He wants field hands, basically.
And so this is the Anders, that they're
Yeah.
fine people, but really all they want are the boys because they can put them to work. Because the oldest is almost out of school, and the
And
youngest,
that was my second hesitation with this is John Jr. is old enough that he could maintain the farm himself and care for his brothers and sisters. He has to be 15 or 16.
he was close to it.
Yeah. So I'm like, with some guidance, he could just and I realize we'll get to know him in a few episodes, and he doesn't want to be a farmer, but that would make sense for a couple of years or until somebody steps forward to at least adopt the two youngest or whatever. But they never ever. It feels like they're assuming John Jr. is younger than he actually is, and they obviously assume that Mrs. Sanderson was younger than she is because Laura asks Pa, "How old do you think she is?" And he says 30 or 40, and I'm like, "Oh, honey, no. Patricia Neal's like 50," and looks it.
Yeah. But you could get away with that because people
Yeah,
died
because
younger, so they aged faster
it's
back
a
then.
hard knock life on the prairie.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I never understood why it was so like imperative that they find someone immediately. Since they have a home, they have a farm, and John Jr. is old enough to at least watch his siblings. They just seem like they want John Jr. to be like 10 or 11, and he's not. He's like, he's 15, 16. I don't know. It just struck me as weird that they were pushing so hard to find somebody to watch the kids when there's somebody right there.
Probably the younger ones. And honestly, if Grace wanted to, she could be. She
Yeah,
could have said, I'll just live here for the next year, get you
and
guys where
just
you want to be. I'll go
yeah,
into town while the kids are at school, do my post office stuff, come home, we'll all make dinner together. You can maintain the farm. But as you
yeah,
said, in later episodes, we'll see why that doesn't work. But
yeah.
it is a vehicle to finally push Mr.
Push.
Edwards over
Yeah,
the edge. And yet the thing that bothered me more about this is so let's go back and deal with the Anders. They say they only want to do that. They only want the boys, which
mm.
introduces um, Mrs. Olson's unwed
Harriet's cousin.
cousin, who is very well to do. And so, on the one hand, I do want to point out that Harriet tries to help.
Yeah,
Like, it's not, maybe
it's
she's
and
trying to win.
it's
She is trying to help.
yeah, and it's not like
So,
this is a little thing. It's not like a puppy, okay? Because the girls are trying to adopt out the puppies, and the Sanderson kids take one, and somebody else takes another one, and Laura's
which was
trying
supposed to
to
be left in the vestibule, but yet when they all come out, the
yeah,
puppy in the vest, we never see it. And like, what are you calling a vestibule? The place where they hang the pails and
where
the
they hang
hats?
their
But okay,
coats, where they hang their
that
coats,
must
but
be where the other 20 people that come out of the
they're
front
all
door
huddled in
sit.
there smoking
Yes.
cigarettes or something. Anyway, they she's trying not to give the third puppy to Nellie because she doesn't want the dog going to the Olsons. Um,
Doesn't want the dog to be abused, which I
yeah,
respect because we
which
know
I
that
respect.
Nellie doesn't know how to love things. She wants it because it's a puppy, and
Because
she'll get
it's yeah,
annoyed to it with
everyone
it,
and the
just like she
Ingalls
gets
have
an
them.
yes, yeah, and
So
she even offers to pay for it. So, but Nellie again is used as a vehicle. That was something I was going to point out. I would love to go back and count how many episodes Nellie actually says things in because she really didn't say anything in the first episode,
yeah,
but she's talked about, and that's how she's maintained.
yeah. A lot of
That's how
times
we
that
think she's
it's
in way
just
more
Laura
episodes than
complaining
she's
about her.
in the first two seasons because she's mentioned a lot.
Yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, so the cousin comes in, she's very well to do, she's a spinster. So now we've got the tale of two spinsters. We have Grace Snyder, the spinster, who has a beau, who has no intention of marrying her. And then we have Minerva Farnsworth, who has no beau, but has lots of personal wealth and can take this girl to
Who also
Paris and all these places.
also
So,
looks to be about 60.
yes.
So I'm not sure why she's adopting a 5-year-old. That
It'll be a companion for her and a plaything and all that stuff.
yeah. But she doesn't seem like she's not Harriet. She's not like Harriet. She seems
She's
like
not a mean person at all.
no. No.
Let's be
And
clear.
I going back to Harriet actually helping, this is a big thing. I mean, you're taking on a human being.
Yeah.
So she's helping a lot in
She's
practical
trying to
terms. She
help.
was
Yeah.
helping a lot.
Yeah. It
But of
makes
course, we
sense to
want the kids
her.
all to stay together because
Yeah.
happiness.
So, yeah, so that all happens. And then they decide that, okay, well, Thanksgiving will be the day that we separate everybody because that's not going to be traumatizing at
That's a
all.
perfect time right before the holidays.
And this is how we
Perfect
know
time.
it's November.
Yeah,
And this is how we know that it doesn't make sense because they're in Minnesota, North Dakota, no snow, no
no snow.
cold. They talk about how hot it is in the church. So there's
The
definitely some
trees are still green.
anachronism happening there,
The
okay?
girls are still
And
going to the swimming hole.
they go into the swimming hole, and this time, instead of short dresses they've outgrown, they're in their underalls with boys. They're
Yeah,
just in their white petticoats
yeah.
with boys. And
Which
he talks
I,
about
I,
getting towels for them, and it's supposed to be okay.
I mean, I would view it as okay, but I don't know if 1800s would view it as okay.
That's what I'm saying. You and I,
Yeah,
whatever.
it seems a
It's
bit.
not a
It seems a
bikini
bit.
or anything, but I was like,
I
it
think
seems
what they're
odd that
trying
they
to
would let
do,
the girls swim.
yeah, I think what they're
And
trying to do is establish that these kids have been friends for a very long time, even though we've just met the
yeah.
three Sanderson kids.
So Mrs. Farnsworth watches them play with in the water, and she approaches Mr. Edwards and says, "I don't know what I did to offend you. I'm just trying to give the girl a good home." And he just doesn't say anything and says, "Well, sorry, ma'am," and he goes on.
Yeah,
Um,
he thinks it's horrible that they're being split up, and
yeah.
it's like, well, um, taking on three children is a lot. So I don't know. I'm surprised they found somebody who would take two.
Yeah. I mean,
But this is the
it's
story. It's
yeah. So then he gets really mad. He goes over to the horses. He picks up a feed sack, which I'm like, is he going to go kill puppies? But that was just me. I have a couple of these traumatic PTSD moments, by the way. Um, and he puts the feed bag over one horse, and you can clearly see in camera a second horse going, dude, where's my food?
fine.
Like these horses, they keep them tied up to the wagons. They don't let them off of the thing. And he only feeds the one horse. And then he stands there and puts his hand in the seed while the guy's feeding. I'm like, this is none of that is no.
No,
But okay.
no, and
But
I don't even know why. I mean, we. This is my problem with the second episode. It's so Isaiah centric, and he does very little but bitch. I mean,
well,
he's sad, and he doesn't want them to be
he
split up, and
builds
he loves.
he builds a tree house for the kids knowing that they're going to be adopted out
Yeah,
somewhere. Why are you building a tree
why?
house?
Why are you doing that? Why? I mean, because of the story, because when they need to get him to a point where he's going to break down and marry Grace and adopt the three children, and they all live happily ever after, except they
Which they
don't.
do. Which they do.
Well, for a season or two.
Right. Yeah, so I really thought it was interesting. There was two picnics in here. One is the picnic right after they've told the kids she's dying. And then the next is the picnic right before they're going to be split up into two things. So I'm like,
Yeah,
note to self, don't go to picnics
yeah, and
with the
I will
Ingalls
say
anymore.
the kids are handling it well. I
Yeah.
mean, the two boys are like, we understand. You did the best you can do. We understand. Um, we'll keep in touch. You know, thank you for helping us, but don't, we're not crying. Look, we're not crying. We're not crying at all. Um, so, and Charles was doing the best that Charles could do
Right. So Laura sits woefully by the pond and
with the puppy that
watches.
she was going to take to Nellie because she was just going to, who cares? You're going to split up the kids. I'm going to take
I
this puppy
also
to Nellie
thought a
because
moment where she might try to drown the puppy because she think it would be better off to drown the
I'm going to
puppy
give it
than
to
it
Nellie.
would be to let it go
It's
live with
perfectly fine.
Nellie.
They have money, so they'll take care of it. Well, yeah, but you know, kind of different because Alicia's not going to live with Nellie. She's going to live with that nice lady. But that's okay. Laura has to have a breakdown, and comes out and says, you
Gonna
don't want
be
to take
okay.
that puppy to Nellie. You're not bringing that puppy to Nellie. So what
Then the
happened to them?
kids wait until right at the last moment. Oh, here's another thing that I just want to point out, and I'm sorry, I'm a little whiny today. But so Mr. Edwards, he's always wearing the pair of pants that are way too big for him that he's hitched up at the thing. His pocket for the first time is not unsewed. Grace has finally somehow fixed and patched his pocket. But he
Yeah.
shows up at the church one time in a suit coat, a little too big for him, but he's in a suit coat. And then the day on Thanksgiving, he's in a full suit, a fitted suit. Where did this
Yes.
man who lives the bachelor life and walks around in these scuzzy clothes all the time is in this beautiful suit for his wedding day?
That he
That
didn't
was
plan in
very
the slightest.
spontaneous.
Yeah, the
Yes.
spontaneous wedding day. But yeah, so
But yeah, how romantic, Grace. He really does love you. He makes a point to stop and say, "I do love
yeah.
you. I'm not afraid to say it anymore, but I also love those kids, and that's why I will marry you." I mean,
I wa-
so
this
at least
actually pissed me off
yeah.
because I'm like, okay, dude, you waited until the
Yeah.
day of this happening. You have to think that this farming couple has planned for these two boys. They've created and Minerva. You know that there's a closet full of little girl clothes waiting for Alicia to come home to. And and then just right at the very last moment go, oh no, sorry. Sorry. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're not going to do that after all. It's like, yeah, that was my problem with this episode. I don't think it needed to be two parts because that second part is just mostly Isaiah dragging his feet. And if I were Grace, I'd be like, do I want to marry this man? Who has to be
Again, I
like,
feel like they both are making that decision mostly for the children and for what they want out of life. Because she
yeah,
looks at him. I will say, I was proud of her for looking at him and saying, I'll do the best that I can also. I'll,
yeah,
you know, she's like, she doesn't promise she's going to be the perfect
yeah.
Prairie wife. She makes it clear. You're going to do the best you can. Well, I'll do the best I
I'm
can.
going to do
We're
the
both
best
going
I
to
can.
screw up a little bit here. All right.
So,
It has a happy ending, and these three kids and the Edwards go on to appear in numerous episodes. But let's talk about some of the guest stars we have. First of
yeah.
all, I need to tell you that the bad man with the puppies, he dies less than 5 years later. So
I don't think it had anything to do with him trying to kill the
no,
puppies
they
on
give
Little
him a
House on the
name of
Prairie.
Tyler,
But
which is never used
no,
whatsoever,
no.
and we
The
never
girls
see
just
him
call him
again.
Sir or Mister.
Yeah, so but yeah, so he does that. Now I want to talk a little bit about the so we talked about Patricia Neal. She did
Yeah.
have Oscar and a Tony. She also had 2 Emmy nominations. But here's the thing. She was also the original Olivia Walton in the pilot episode for the
Pilot episode.
Waltons. Now it
Yep.
turns over becomes Michael Learned in the actual TV series, but she was Olivia Walton there. He was married to Roald Dahl, like James and the
Really?
Big Peach and all
I
that
had no
kind of
idea
stuff.
that she was married to him.
Yeah, she was married to Roald Dahl, and they were married for 30 plus years. So I thought that was kind of cool because that's not necessarily something you would have guessed. She was also, she met and married in 1953, and they'd have 5 children together. She ended up having a series of strokes that nearly killed her in 1965. She was uh, filming Seven Women at the time and had to be replaced by Anne Bancroft. And she was also pregnant at the time that she had
Wow.
this. And she went under a 7-hour operation on her brain and survived, later delivering that fifth child. And then she went under rehab, and she had to turn down The Graduate. And again, Anne Bancroft took
And
that over
Bancroft's.
because she hadn't recovered from the stroke and she started having memory issues. And so she died in 2010. So she actually lived for 84 years, but her actual filming started, obviously it was harder for her to do that. So she really had
Yeah.
to take that step back. She did not appear in Bonanza or Gunsmoke, along with all of her credits, which was
That
180 of
surprised
them.
me.
She was not in Bonanza or Gunsmoke. Let's talk about the three kids. So the first kid is called Radames Para. He was the oldest one. He played John Jr.
John Jr.
He actually was in an episode of The Waltons.
Oh,
He is also very famously known as the young grasshopper from the Kung Fu series.
oh,
When you see the young
the young Keith
Kung Fu,
Carradine, or not Keith Carradine, David Carradine, the young
yes, whenever
character.
you see
Yeah,
the
when
young
yeah,
one, that is Radames. So, um, so when he says patience grasshopper, which has become a meme all across the
yeah,
world, you're actually looking at that kid. So that was really interesting. Now, Alicia, you probably know best.
yeah,
It's Kyle Richards from The
yeah.
Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. She also was a series regular for quite a few episodes on ER. She also was part of the Halloween
Yep.
franchise. She was in there more than once. Her sister, of course, is the one that appeared in the first season with the big shoe issues.
Yes.
So it's a family thing. Now, if you remember, so that was Kyle, and her mom was Kathy Richards. What did her sister? What franchise was her sister known for? The Witch Mountain series, right?
Which yeah, the Escape to Witch Mountain, the
So
Return to Witch
Kyle
Mountain.
actually appeared in Escape to Witch Mountain as the young Tia to her sister's
Oh,
thing.
that
So
works.
here's both of these kids have played the younger versions in some pretty well-known
Yeah.
things. And then Brian part was played Carl, so he was the second boy. He was not in Escape to Witch Mountain, but he actually was one of the goons in Return from Witch Mountain. So there's
Aha.
a connection there again. And he was also in the Waltons with, not at the same time, but he also, so three of them were in the Waltons, three of them were in the Witch Mountain series. Um,
And one
but
was
then
in Kung Fu.
Brian actually stopped acting in 1983 and he formed a band and they sold CDs and traveled around, and he's in the music biz now. Um, Now, I want to talk just a minute about the Anders. Now, again, the Anders were the ones that were just going to take the boys, not the
The
girls.
voice, yeah.
Jerry Gaylor played the mom, the
Mr. Anders.
wife, Mrs. Anders.
Mrs.
Um, this Little House on the Prairie was her last credit. We got to add that as one of the popcorn things because
Yeah,
we've had that happen a couple times. It's like either it
yeah.
was the best experience she ever had and didn't want to do it
Or
again,
there's just
or
like,
it was
oh
the
God, I'm
worst
never gonna
because
act
that was
again.
it. But she's probably best known for being one of the commanders in the sci-fi classic, cult classic, Queen of Outer Space.
Oh
She
gosh.
was in that. Sheldon Allman, who played Mr. Anders, he has a bunch of acting credits. And he was in Gunsmoke and he was in Bonanza. So you can check that off on your bingo card because he was in both of those. But whenever you remember the black and white TV show Mr. Ed,
Yes.
he's the singing voice of Mr. Ed. And he's a composer, and he actually had a better career as a composer, including the cartoon George of the Jungle. He was
Oh
the one who
cool.
wrote those
He wrote
songs.
George of the Jungle.
Yes. And then for our final guest of these two episodes, Irene Tedrow. She was the one who played Minerva Farnsworth. She was the one that was going to take Alicia away. She has over 210 credits. She was also in Kung Fu, and she was also in Bonanza, and she has two Emmys. But she also played Aunt May in the 1978 Spider-Man. So
That's where I've seen
So
her.
I think
Okay,
that's what's so
she looks
fun.
so familiar. And that's the Nicholas Hammond one.
Yeah.
Um, the oldest child from Sound of Music went on to become Spider-Man.
Yes.
Um, yeah, so I was
She
wondering
has
where I'd
200
seen her because it's
credits.
like,
So
damn, I've
Lin-
seen her somewhere.
literally on IMDb, they said she's one of those. I know that face, but I don't know
Yep.
why. She's one of those actresses because the name doesn't fall off the tongue, Irene
No.
Tedrow. But if you go back, she's been a guest, short runs on different pivotal TV shows over the years and stuff like that. So, but yeah, so we do go see John Sanderson appears in 8 more episodes, and then Alicia and Carl are in 18 episodes. So we will see those children again, but I did want
This
to
will
just kind
be
of introduce them.
Yeah, this will be a running theme. Once the Ingalls girls start to get older, it's the Cousin Oliver effect. They'll start to introduce younger children just to
For
keep that
various
young
reasons.
audience. Yeah,
Yes,
so
exactly.
this is the first time they do it. It will not be the last.
Yeah. So, obviously Kim Richards couldn't hang around with her big wooden shoes, so they bring Kyle in.
Yeah, yeah,
And Kyle hangs around for a while. So,
for a little while. Yeah,
yeah.
for as long as Edwards does for the first time, because he goes off to become the sheriff on who's the
Spoilers.
sheriff?
Spoilers of a
Sorry, I know we're
1970 show.
spoiling future episodes of this 50-year-old show.
Yes. So, do you
So
remember
I
me
did
now?
actually have a bingo.
I did not. I had every six ways of Dixie, and I even cheated and kept my same card for both episodes. But you
Okay,
said
so did I.
wild animals attack.
Okay,
Is that what you
I
did for the
I did it
puppies?
for the farmer. The farmer's the wild
Okay.
animal. He's attacking those puppies.
So which cards did you have where you got
I
bingos?
had 29. I had card 20. Oh, wait a minute. No, 28. Sorry. I had card 28. So I had mom and pa share a knowing look,
Yep.
which they do. Somebody dies.
Clear.
Match. Free space, free for Jack, who apparently is a very who gets around town there. Jack.
We get a 2026 moment because he's a ma and a pa.
Yeah, and that
But
was my 1970s woke moment, was Jack taking over mama duties for the puppies. And what happened to that third puppy that she didn't give to Nellie?
we never know.
We never know.
So
I
they
hope she
introduce
didn't.
a young Jack for later on. So
Yeah, there we go. And then Old Man Tucker.
yeah. So
So I
he
would have had
sings Old
another
Man
one.
Tucker
Yeah,
and they
I would have
play
had
it.
another one with the gun smoke because I had somebody gets hurt because we have cancer. Pa cries, Ma cries, and then Old Man Tucker, and then Gunsmoke. So I had actually had two big.
Laura didn't get in trouble. She got
No,
spoken to by Ma, but Ma understood.
it's not really.
So I had card 22. I did have a 2026 woke moment because, unwoke moment because
Yeah,
clearly, first of all, they talk about that Jack can't be a girl, so like
yeah,
that's not okay. But also just, other things. And then we did have a guest on Bonanza. Laura did cry, clearly. Ma and
yep,
Pa shared a knowing look. We did have Old Man Tucker. We did have a frozen Mary because she didn't know what to do at first about the
yep.
puppy, the fourth puppy. Pa cried very clearly. Nellie and Laura did fight, not a physical fight, but they fight
They
over the
fight over the
puppy.
puppy.
Free Jack, of course. 1970s woke moment. Definitely had one of those. Another guest star on Gunsmoke. So I had both guest stars, Gunsmoke and Bonanza. Um, Someone died, clearly. Wild animals attack. I did mark off. Did not help me. Townsfolk disappear. Yeah, we never see the Anders again. We never see that mean guy again. Like, that
So
just
we never
happened.
see Minerva again either. So, but
Yeah,
she's not a townsfolk.
she's not a
The Anders,
townsfolk. I would
oddly,
call
yeah,
the Anders, I felt like count like that. And
yeah,
then nightcaps, because you said they were. If I had
yeah. There
had a
was a
fever
nightcaps in the first
break,
episode.
Willie standing in the corner, popcorn in bed, oh Nels, Nellie cry. None of that stuff happened. Harriet
Yeah, I
didn't
didn't.
commit a
Them and
crime.
Rabina. There's no ethnic stereotypes in this one, amazingly enough.
Yeah,
Pa took.
if Laura had gotten in trouble or if I'd had popcorn in bed, I would have gotten a bingo, but I don't
Pa
consider Laura getting
remarkably
in
keeps his
trouble.
shirt on both episodes. Pa keeps his shirt on.
Well, that's good because he did plow another woman's field, and I'm still
That's
not
true.
over that. All right.
I mean, that is Remember Me, parts 1 and 2, the big two-parter for season 2, and now we have the Edwards family as part of this.
We get to
I
really
spent
see it. We get to see it in voiceover music. We don't get to
Yeah,
see anything.
yeah. But they'll show up again. The kids, I mean, Carl actually shows up quite a bit, because he becomes pals with Laura.
Yeah.
Um, I think we see Carl more than we see the other two. Well, definitely more than John
He's
Jr.
just still
because John
in
Jr.
18 total episodes, but
Okay,
I think they
so
may spread out.
yeah, but yeah. So yeah, that is Remember Me, and that is Two of Bonnets, and we're back. Back, baby.
If you've been
And
listening along and you just found us, you have no idea we were gone. So
yeah, we were gone for a while, but we're back. So next week, what is next week's episode? Oh, it's the camp out. We had this heavy duty two-parter episode with sadness. We need something goofy and silly right after. That is also something that happens in Little House on the Prairie quite often, whenever they have a really
to do
heavy,
some pacing, and that's good.
yeah.
I was
So next
panicked
week's,
when I first
yeah,
started watching. I was like, of all the things to come back
I
to.
did, yeah. When he grabbed the puppies, I was like, I did not remember that bit, and I was like, oh gosh,
Yeah.
is this like, are they actually going to do this? And then I remember, oh no, this is Michael Ending hitting me over the head with a sledgehammer. That is his point.
I figured it was too early in the episode. That was the one hope that I had,
Yeah,
was that it was too early in the episode. I was hoping that wasn't going to happen because I
yeah.
would have
So,
problems with that.
so join us next week for the camp out, a very silly episode.
Yes.
But yeah, we could already mark Laura and Nellie fight on the bingo card because that happens the entire episode.
Yay.
Okay, until
All right.
next week, we will.
I'm Joey.
This is Carol. This is Two Woke Bonnets, and we'll see you next week. Bye.
Thanks for listening to Two Woke Bonnets. To find out more and to download your bingo card, visit twowokebonnets.com. And don't forget to like and subscribe wherever fine video and audio podcasts are played.